Alright, so let's talk about Circus Electrique. This game, just from the footage and the screenshots, and even the way the game plays, yes, it looks like a Darkest Dungeon clone, but is there enough here besides just the theme to make you want to play it? Let's talk about it. So the game came out September 6, 2022. It was developed by Zen Studio and published by Saber Interactive. At the moment, it is going for $19.99 US. I'm playing the Steam PC version. There's achievements, full controller support, etc. So let's go over the story, the gameplay, and my overall thoughts about it. So the story is you take control of a woman on a mission to find out exactly what happened to her mother. You are seemingly part of a circus family, with you being a somewhat of a ringleader. You have a lion pets, and you travel to London and you meet up with your uncle. So the uncle is actually running the Circus Electrique. All of a sudden, some power, things starts happening, some mystical, magical stuff. And by the way, this is a fantastical, completely fantasy steampunk based world where anything can happen, right? So you meet up there, you see your uncle, he's running the circus, and you get attacked by the Bobby, which is like the London police. So in this game, they are called the Vicious. Now, the story of the game is you talk to your uncle, you end up helping him manage the Circus Electrique, and you are slowly defeating different types of enemies, monsters, humanoid types, going through the streets of London and going on many different quests to find out what happened to your mother and what is the maddening. Why are the Vicious attacking you? So that's pretty much the story and setting. Now, the gameplay loop, it's very, very similar to Darkest Dungeon, so I'm going to be comparing a lot of this to that, but don't worry, I'll try to get really in specifics about this. So the game, even though it doesn't say necessarily it is a roguelike, at least tagged here on the Steam page, yes, there is permadeath in the game. Your characters will die. So how it works is you're going to be going through a gameplay loop of managing your circus. I'm going to go through all these steps, but first of all, managing your circus, going through the streets of London, and then recruiting and managing them again, and you're going to keep doing that over and over again. So how do you manage your circus? Well, just like Darkest Dungeon, you have pretty much your base there, your town. You're going to be unlocking different types of buildings as you progress through the game, going through the tutorial. These can be different buildings where you could recruit lots of different classes. According to the Steam page here, there's around 15 classes you could unlock. At the beginning, it gives you like 4 or 5 or so to get you really used to it, but you get more later. So you have the place to recruit people. You have a place where you can leave them overnight to heal, and increase the devotion. In this game, you have HP for your characters, and instead of despair, darkness, or stress, I guess it was over there, you have devotion. Now, if all of your HP go down, you're about to die. You can flee battles, but you lose a lot of devotion. Devotion is the stress in this game. Now, I kind of like what they did here. It's not crazy punishing like it is in Darkest Dungeon, where if your stress level gets all the way up to 100, you have a high chance of getting a heart attack and your character instantly dying. Here, it's either your HP goes down or your devotion goes down to 0 for a couple of in-game days. Now, you might be saying, why don't, who cares about devotion during battles? It really helps out. Devotion is a resource that is used for a lot of your skills to do lots of powerful abilities. Let's say you have a healing spell or a crazy debuffing spell in enemies. Sometimes it uses a percentage of your devotion. Now, devotion can be healed in some different ways. You can cure them and heal them up in your circus, or you can use abilities in battle, though they aren't that strong at the start and they do take up a turn. So lots of different skills you have are affected by devotion, not just the resources, but maybe you are an offensive class. If you have a high amount of devotion, it adds a certain amount of percentage to that attack, so you always want high devotion. Okay, so there's that building, and then you have the circus building. This is the big thing here. So in this game, to get resources, to get experience, to level up everything, you are going to be running different circus shows. They look complicated at first, but there's a lot of different drafts you can do where every character that you can recruit, yes, they all are one of these 15 classes, but they have different abilities. A lot of them prefer different performance spots. A lot of them have different perks, and a lot of them also have different icons. So you want to create a show that works for the draft that you have. Let's say a horror show. You want to increase your audience fun factor as much as possible, so you want to put in characters which, you know, work towards that. So you have to manage fulfilling the needs of the certain circus show you want to do for that day. You also have to make sure that they have the stats to do it, that they require and fill in those certain spots, and they have chemistry with the other characters that perform there. You can have a mediocre show, but you gain a lot of tier stars as you perfect that show. And with those stars, you can get lots of different things. You can allocate those points to increase your fame for your circus, which increases, you know, your building ranks and levels. You can get experience for your members who, you know, go into the show, and you can also get lots of money and different sorts of materials, which is used for resource crafting and upgrading the building. So this game is very, very heavily managing your circus and running around and fighting. So that's pretty much the town. You know, recruit people, level them up, manage their despair, you know, their loyalty, and also just make sure they don't die and craft stuff there. Next is the main campaign mode, where, you know, in Darkest Dungeon, it's really crazy because that game, you go on an adventure, you embark, you prepare everything, and then you go on a very long adventure to do how many tasks you need to do before you head back. And those runs can take anywhere from like half an hour to like an hour, depending on how fast you go, how quick you go. But here, it's not too bad. You are always available to see the map, and you can check which way you want to go, which alleyway you want to go. So let's just say you start from left side of the whole map. You have lots of different ways, but you always see your goal at the end. So there's lots of different events that you're going to be heading towards. You have the really basic ones, such as loot boxes. Basically, you get more of the stuff that you would be getting during the circus performances. Next, you have basic battles. Here, it's 4 people against 4 people, and I guess I didn't really explain how the combat system works. So basically, it's a turn-based battle system, exactly like Darkest Dungeon. Exactly, if you've played that. But if you haven't, I'll give you a little bit more description here. Characters are in position 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on their class. They can go ahead and go in those positions, and they can only use the moves that are available in that position. So let's say you have a frontline fighter, but he gets pushed to the back. He's not going to have a good time. He's going to be using weaker moves that you would prefer to have in the front, etc., that sort of thing. Same thing with the enemies. You can always see, like, everything is always plain to see, and the graphics are beautiful, by the way. I love these models. They're really well made. It has that like gritty look, you know, it has that film grain. You can go to the options and you can take off filters for the graphics, and you can also take off filters for the music, because it has like some record scratches, some like oldie filters you can take off. So that's a really nice touch. They got that, and the game is optimized pretty well on PC, if you were also wondering. But back to the combats. The enemies also have position 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see everything. You click on your character, you can click on the enemy's character, you can see all their stats, all their attack, all their defenses, all the different moves they can have. Now, in this game, when you recruit your new guys, even though, let's say you have the same clown classes, you have 3 of the clown classes, each of them could have different moves, different perks, and different sorts of circus talents. So you really want to, you know, get a good mix of them, and also different levels depending on how far you are in the game. You know, maybe you want to just recruit one with more money for a higher level. So that's the battle. It's just pretty much kill them, or you can lower their devotion as well. You can lower it down to 0, and then they simply flee and run away. Difficulty, there is easy, normal, and hard. As far as I can tell, I haven't checked, but I don't think you can change difficulty in the middle of a campaign. But I was reading what easy, normal, and hard did, and yeah, the game here actually rewards you for playing on a harder difficulty if you are into that. Remember, this is permadeath, so, you know, I don't think this game's as sort of cutthroat as Darkest Dungeon, because you do have a lot of chances to switch out your characters between battles, but it's still a lot of managing. Except, you know, that's the one thing I didn't like about Darkest Dungeon. It was a little too much on the expedition, way too long. Characters, like, you felt like you're always gonna lose one guy, right? But here, you only lose if you're not prepared. So that's the battle parts. You get also like a mystery events where you can just choose between a couple of choices, and it's nice because the events are actually read out. It's pretty cool. Yes, there's voice acting as well. There really isn't that many sort of cutscenes or anything like that. But yeah, there is a lot of text, but most of it is read to you. You know, there's a lot of other cool things you can have in here, like gigantic battles at the end, the boss battles. There's like wave battles you can find later, and just some more gimmicky type of things. So without spoiling literally everything, because I think I did talk about a lot already, if you are into this game and you like Darkest Dungeon, you already know if this is going to be one that you're going to be into. And I do have to say that for $19.99 US, this is a very, very good game for the price. Like, honestly, if you are just itching for another Darkest Dungeon, because let's be honest, who here has tried Darkest Dungeon 2? My god, that game is not Darkest Dungeon at all. That's like a modernized roguelike game, but, you know, that's going off on another tangent. I talked about that in my review for Darkest Dungeon 2, but honestly, if you want a true Darkest Dungeon experience, the Circus Electrique will scratch that itch for you. Now, albeit, like I said, it's not crazy cutthroat, but it is a 2022 game. They have, you know, modernized it a little bit more. It looks good, it's different, but, you know, it has all the strategy you want, all the different sorts of customization. You can rename the characters, you know, you're managing everything, and then things slowly get harder and harder and harder as you play. So it's a really cool game. If you guys enjoy, leave a like, it helps a lot. If you haven't already subbed for daily videos, if you want to see the full gameplay of Circus Electrique, I'll be uploading it all on my Let's Play channel. Link down below, and please turn on notifications. I am live streaming now here on this YouTube channel, so I would love to see you guys there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.